what's going on? It's Preacher. We're looking at the Fire Mage, often requested, much ignored, sadly. A little bit on the ignorant side on this one. Why? Not really recommended as of now until you're moving up into the mythic world of raiding and relative gear levels, as it does rely on stats. Still one of those specs that isn't quite balanced to work at lower gear levels, in which case it become a little bit frustrating to play. But if you choose to play this, which is always good because occasionally it gives you the moments of magic when all the pyroblasts seem to go off and your screen just fills with glowing joy of the pain you're about to wreath on your opponents, then yeah, it's a good spec to play. At the moment, unless you're a high-end mage, nah, not really. If you're looking to get into it, it's probably going to be next tier when Blizzard, no doubt, floods everybody with nice, easy gear to get up to a reasonable item level. You're looking sort of 670 plus-ish to be relying on this. We'll talk about why in a moment. Fire. What's it all about? Fire, our one golden rule, as we have with every single class and spec in this fucking game. There is one thing that you look after and the rest just falls into place. With fire, it is combustion. Combustion, our big DPS cooldown. It's so unique. So unique. It's not something that we can fire and forget off cooldown and all that kind of thing. And like every other DPS cooldown in the game, pretty much, you can just say, oh, it's off cooldown, boom, go for it. Combustion, can't do that. Doesn't work that way. Never has worked that way. And it still continues to be this kind of extra little burden that the Fire Mages carry. But if you do it right, you live the dream. You do it wrong, you're suffering in mediocrity for the rest of your life, and that kind of sucks. So let's get into it. Fire Mage. Let's talk about our talents and stuff. Now, I will bring this up now, because I think it's important, because I see people doing this. I can't really work out why. We have the ability of the spell Scorch. Scorch classically is the spell that we cast on the move. We can cast it while running around. Yay! Look, I can Scorch. Woo! But then again, in our first tree, we have Ice Flows. Yeah? Unless you are literally running from here to fucking Stormwind, there's basically never an occasion where you don't have something instant cast to press or have Ice Flows ready to go. It has 3 charges. Scorch is bad. Real bad. Massive bad. Whole big pile of bad. We don't want to cast Scorch if at all possible. The situation will occur on very rare occasions where we want to cast a Scorch because Ice Flows is on cooldown, we have no instant cast, all that kind of stuff, and therefore you might want to cast a Scorch. But if at all possible, please avoid it. Take your Ice Flows. Make good use of it. So many people have Ice Flows and just don't use it. You can cast it while you... Oh, I've got to move. Ice Flows. Go, 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 go. All this kind of stuff is very, very crucially important, guys, that you can cast it while casting the spell. You don't need to stop casting or anything like that. Look. Pyro, my big Pyro. Oh, shit, I've got to move. Ice Flows. Still cast it and move. It's all good. It's all good. Remember, to be a top-tier caster, you literally cast more spells than the other guy. Oh, how do you do that? By taking advantage of things like movement. When the other guys stop moving, or start moving, I should say, and stop casting to get into a new position, you, as the badass mage, keep casting. Keep going. Make use of what abilities you have. At level 30, you're generally going to be rocking with either Flame Glow or Alter Time. I use Ice Barrier for the general 5-mans and stuff, where I just need that little tiny burst of health. But bear in mind that in raids, Ice Barrier fucking sucks. Waste of time. Absolutely garbage. Don't worry about it. You want either Flame Glow if you're getting constant damage, or you want Alter Time if you're about to get smacked in the dick by a big giant bat. It will save your life. Get used to using it. At level 45, pick whatever the hell you want. At level 60... Greater Invis or Cauterize. Depends on what content you're doing. If you're going to die or you've got to soak something or something like that, even Greater Invis is better at that now because it has a 90% reduced damage effect while you're using it. So, pick and choose. Cauterize is nice if you're... Especially if you're doing stuff like I do for the guides, which is like random content. You just don't know when you're going to die because you can't work out what the crazy bastards around you will do. Cauterize is better for me because suddenly something happens. It's like, oh, okay, the tank decided not to stand near the boss and get cleaved or whatever. Greater Invis if you're raiding. At level 75, you actually have some good choices. If you're still getting used to the Fire Mage, and you're like still plotting out, this is like an alt that you've just capped, so you're still getting used to managing things like Pyroblast and all that, then Unstable Magic's really cool. It's not as good as the other two, but the difference is pretty minimal, honestly. Really pretty minimal, so you can actually get away with using Unstable Magic while you get comfortable with everything else. Living Bomb. This is if you're going to be doing a real constant cleave. Think Twin Ogron, yeah? Think Tectus. Those things where there's ads alive for a really long time. Single target, Living Bomb isn't any good. It's rubbish. If you have Living Bomb and you're waiting for the ads to spawn, then you're not going to put Living Bomb on the boss. Yeah, you heard me right. until you actually are able to spread it, as Living Bomb can be spread by Inferno Blast, you're not going to use it. It's as simple as that. If you take it and you're still fighting a single boss, you're not going to use Living Bomb. You will lose damage. In all of the scenarios, Blast Wave! Woo! It's a nice single target DPS increase. Blast Wave is very, very cool. We want to use it on cooldown, unless we need to do sudden random burst AoE, yeah? Living Bomb is great for consistent AoE if we need to just kill those ads. You think Kara, where he spawns those little ads and they need to die real fast, real fucking smooth, then we're going to drop in double Blast Waves and we're going to kick some ass. It has 2 charges, replaces your Frost Nova. Wonderful ability. At level 90, yeah, Rune of Power still a thing. Still exists. A lot of debate actually in the level 90s. Mirror Images is a wonderful cooldown, but it has a 2-minute cooldown, which means if the fight is 5 minutes, then you're only going to get 2 uses out of it. If it goes 6 minutes 30, you're going to get 3 uses out of it, yeah? Very simple maths to understand there. Mirror Images is a wonderful cooldown, but you have to bear in mind how many times can you actually use it in the fight. If you can't get, like, the most out of it, and it doesn't line up nicely with the length of the fight, then Incancer's Flow can be better. Okay, that's the way you need to look at it. If you can stand still, if you're doing Butcher-esque type content and you can just plank your feet and sit there all day, then Rune of Power is going to be great. If you do have to move around a lot and the timing's not quite great, Incancer's Flow will be better. So, yeah, overall what you can take away from that is they're reasonably close, guys. Reasonably close. You just have to bear in mind that Mirror Images just carry this 2-minute cooldown where the other 2 do not. So if it's really going towards the edge of the next cast of Mirror Images, but the boss dies before it, you probably lost some damage there, okay? Nice, easy idea. Level 100, gotta be saying, even if you're mythically geared, Kindling's likely not to make the cut, because we're still in the early days of the expansion, guys. Simple as that. We're still early days, early levels of gear compared to where we will be 6 months down the line, so Kindling unlikely to make the cut. So, yeah, don't worry about Kindling for now. Your choices are going to be Prismatic or Meteor. Prismatic allows you to do some slightly more effective combustions. Yeah, get some more damage into those combustions and nice burst on that. Meteor, far more consistent. Meteor can work itself into our combustion ignite. We're going to talk about that in a second. And it's far more regular and does nice AoE damage and all that kind of stuff. It lines up perfectly with combustions and stuff. So bear in mind, it's a wonderful, wonderful ability, and Meteor is generally the go-to. Talking about glyphs. If you're generally going to be cleaving, which most of us are, let's be honest, if you're rolling fire, it's because you want to spread dots. That's literally why you take fire. Okay, we're not anywhere near the stage where fire single target is the way to go. It's more for things like I have really high gear and I want to blow the fuck out of something. Then that's why we take fire, for shits and giggles more than anything. Which means you want the Glyph of Inferno Blast, which means we can spread to another target because we're cleaving. Glyph of Combustion, pretty much mandatory unless you're running just 5-man content. Unless you're just doing 5-man content, you want the Glyph of Combustion. This means that we have more opportunity. More opportunity to get huge, big combustions, which is what we want. As we said at the beginning, the main crux of fire is to get mega combustions. So by doubling the damage and doubling the cooldown, we're lining up for that one big, super fast combustion. If you're just running 5-man content, this probably isn't going to work out because you won't get 2 combustions off anyway, and that means you can use combustion on trash and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're challenge moding as fire, which is not recommended either, as I say, the spec isn't really recommended as much as you guys want to play it, I understand, but the Glyph of Combustion is mandatory. And the Glyph of Dragon's Breath. Yeah, I love this thing. It's really cool. We often get up close and personal with some ads, and it makes Dragon Breath a nice, worthy DPS AoE cooldown. And plus, it looks fucking badass. So we want to cast Dragon's Breath because it looks cool, right? I mean, what's the point in burning things alive if you can't look cool doing it? You just look like a weirdo. So how do we play it? A number of different things, number of different styles, depending on what talent we take. Our general go-to talent setup is probably going to be Blast Wave, Meteor, and either Incancer's Flow or Rune of Power or Mirror Images, okay? This is kind of your go-to, unless you're doing persistent cleave. You're going to be swapping your talents out in and out a lot, but let me give you the basic idea of combustion. What you might know is when we crit, we get something called Ignite, yeah? There's our Ignite. You can see it there. Wonderful, wonderful Ignite. Combustion, our big DPS cooldown, which is what we need to look after, is based off Ignites. So, Ignites roll. What that means is every time you crit, if you crit immediately after, your Ignite rolls in the previous damage, okay? It adds it to that Ignite, so you get bigger and bigger Ignites. That's what happens. Now, it lasts 6 seconds, excuse me. It lasts 6 seconds, so within a 6-second time frame, we have to put as many big critical strikes into the target as possible to get a big fat Ignite. That's what we're after. Then we want to combust. So the obvious ideal is to have a chain of pyroblast crits. Now in this gear, not really likely. We do have things like enhanced pyrotechnics. I believe it's in here, or at the end. Enhanced pyrotechnics. Now this actually makes it more regular to crit, but still not enough to really safely enjoy the benefits of getting chained back-to-back pyroblasts. It's not really quite there. You'll still have these weird periods where we just don't get them, okay? So you're looking for crits and crits and crits, and if you get them, you'll have a nice 14k and upwards, depending on your gear level of Ignite. It should also be worth mentioning that Meteor adds another Ignite, which is very, very cool. So let's say we're doing a pull. Let's say we're doing a pull and we want to get our first combustion off, which we always want to do early. We're probably going to do something like pop mirror images as the countdown goes, start casting our pyroblast, and then we want to try and get in some fat crits like this, okay? We want to get some fat crits in, drop it in, drop a meteor on it to get a nice big fat combustion. Once that lands, boom, 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 and that's going to be our combustion right there. You want to cast your meteor just before you cast your combustion, so you get that extra bonus ignite on top of it. And that's going to give you a pretty decent combustion there. It's safe and standard based on the fact that we have low gear and we're not likely to get back-to-back pyroblasts. Okay, that's not likely to happen. So when it comes to your combustion, literally just keep an eye out. Fireball crits, not really. You don't really want to pop a combustion off a fireball crit. It's nice and all, but it's no pyroblast crit, right? Let's be honest. How do we keep chaining these? We want to get to a gear level where our Infernal Blast is not something we're actually using for the critical strike rating. We want our Infernal Blast to be there so we can spread on demand. So how do we manage that? Now you might notice I don't cast my Pyroblast until I have Pyroblast proc and heating up. So this is very important, guys. You need to pay attention to this. To play a Fire Mage effectively, don't fire your Pyroblast when you see this. You fire it when you see, come on, come on the RNG, this. And when that happens, we fire both a Fireball and a Pyroblast at the same time. This gives us double chance of making sure that we get another Pyroblast at the back end. So let's try this again. So I'm waiting for the heating up. There's heating up. I'm going to use Infernal Blast to proc it. Now I'm waiting for a Fireball crit. When I see it like this, I fire both a Pyro and a Fireball at the same time. Now what I'm hoping for then is for them both to one of them to crit so it can actually buff us up. So we'll wait again. Pyro. And you can sit here with your Pyro. Just obviously make sure it doesn't run out. It does have a time period. And fire them both off. They hit at the same time. And this is what we're after. Yeah? We're after this effect where we instantly go back into Pyroblast. And then we can fire them off again. And it's happening again, you see? If they both crit, we'll go straight back into a Pyro and a heating up, which would be excellent. But we're hoping for at least one to crit in this gear. And fire them off. No crits. Bad day. Everyone's sad. Once we can consistently get there, our Infernal Blast is quite literally just to spread dots. Now, it's unlikely you're there right now. If you're watching this, you're probably not there, unless it's sometime in the future and we have access to higher gear, which means your Infernal Blast will go towards guaranteeing we get a crit. Infernal Blast guarantees a crit, so when you see heating up, before you cast anything else, if you just have heating up, you want to cast your Infernal Blast. Now, be careful when it's at this point, because it can screw you up. Simple stuff. If you have heating up, let's get rid of this proc. Wait for Infernal Blast. The basics of the Fire Mage. Fireball until you get heating up. When you get heating up, which is the small ring, use Infernal Blast to turn that into Pyro. So there it is. Boom, don't stop casting. Then you're going to cast Fireball until you get another heating up proc. Come on. And then fire both a Pyro and a Fireball at the same time and pray for a crit. As you can see, RNG, not really our friend, and therefore it sucks. So there we go, back to heating up, using Infernal Blast. Now I've got both. Fire off the Pyro and the Fireball. You can see they both travel. There we go. Double crits. Then we're straight back here. And this is where the gold of fire comes from. When you start getting that consistently, very cool. Very cool. So for single target, when we're using this talent setup, we're basically using Blast Wave on cooldown. Our Blast Wave is a maze. Very, very cool. And we want to just keep rocking in as many Pyros as possible. Really as simple as that. When we're setting up for our combustion, make sure we definitely getting our Meteor in there as well. They line up at about the same time. So we're going for the heating up. Looking for... We've got a Pyro crit there. Can we get the double? No. Okay. Drop the Meteor. Like I say, you'll have to put up with, guys, with some very, very shitty combustions sometimes. Okay? It's nice to wait forever to get the perfect one, but in that time you probably could have done another. Yeah, it's something to bear in mind. You probably could have done another one. Which... you know, having one more combustion than one really good one is often better. Is to have more combustions than it is to have less. When it comes to AoE though, oh boy, do we have choices. We have flame strikes, we have meteors, we have blast waves, all this kind of stuff. And of course, on top of that, we can spread our dots, okay? This is why it's important that we remember Infernal Blast actually spreads our targets out. It spreads those dots around to all those targets, so we can get all these ignites, all these meteors, and just pray to God that your tanks don't move around. Fire AoE is very cool. Getting close, getting personal, getting his balls, dragon's breaths, yeah, blast waves, flame strikes. If you're just dealing with a couple of targets, we're just going to be spreading our dots via Infernal Blast. But once it starts mounting up, watch your DPS fly. The main key, of course, having said all that with Fire Mage AoE, is to be able to spread your combustion. A big fat combustion spread to all the targets. Whoa. Watch your DPS meter when that happens. In terms of stats, after everything I've just said, obviously, Critical Strike is our best stat. After that, it is Mastery. We want big, fat ignites. That's all we want, to make big, huge combustions. It's really as simple as that, guys. That's how you play the Fire Mage. Let's jump into some gameplay now. You can see all that in action. All right? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.